I wanted to talk about single stocks for a second. You added 9, removed 2. You added actually one that we're Tom Tobin's doing a best idea black book call on this week on Thursday, EYE.
Yeah, former short.
Former short. So it actually, just kind of curious what's happening in general, and maybe as a preview of Tom's call, we can get into I for a second. I know you don't like going too far into single stocks, but just as a little teaser for people, because I think it's going to be a really interesting call Thursday.
And I also think it's illustrative of how we use the quads, the signal to quad process to augment stock picking. Like, if you want to tell me what could be even worse than the dude from Oklahoma who's totally professorial in his conclusion that fractal math doesn't matter, would be that you don't have any positions anyway, so you wouldn't even be able to apply your perceived knowledge, right? If you actually apply the process and you take it right down to the wood on single stocks. So we got EYE. Like, who's talking about this stock today? Please don't chase it on the open because I'm talking about it. It's just stupid, right? I mean, the stock's had a huge move. The risk range is really wide.
Yep.
But we went bearish on this stock. The stock went from, let's just put the numbers out there, 43 in 2023 to 9.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of terrible things happen on the way down. A lot of bounces were bought. They were all lower highs. This thing went from 43 to 27 to 23. Eventually you got to the 9. Then what happens is it starts to go like this. Higher lows. Those are higher lows, okay? That's higher low. Then it goes bullish from a trade perspective, okay? Trade, mucker, come on. Trade, go bullish. And then just a little higher, trend, go bullish, okay? These things, the longer something goes down, the closer those two numbers are to each other. That's why I always say that a bearish trend to bullish trend, phase transition, cueing Mr. Oklahoma professor guy, is the most bullish similar set fractal pattern that you can find, right? So especially now, because if you have fundamental slowing of revenues, in this case of the business, now we know they have easy comparisons, okay? So the entirety of the quads and the architecture that I came up with, the proprietary nature of everything that we had that one dude tried to steal, is all built on what I learned many, 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 many years ago, okay? 25 years ago, Jonesy and I were at the same hedge fund. That's a long time ago, right? He was a tech analyst, I was a consumer analyst. They gave me the easier group because I'm not as bright as some of these other analysts. Tom Tobin was there too, actually, interestingly enough.
Yep.
And that's where we learned this. We want to find companies that show accelerating revenue growth against easy comparisons, okay? So I applied that in terms of the architecture of the models and the fundamental premise to the quads. And I substituted for instead of revenues, I substitute GDP, for example. So that's what that looks like.
Yep. And I think the interesting...
And there are a lot of stocks like that, because there are a lot of small and mid-cap stocks that have been absolutely in a depression, not a recession.
The interesting thing about this example too is that Tom develops proprietary data sets around a lot of his stocks or tickers he follows, and his proprietary data on I had been accelerating, almost to some extent front running trade and trend. But then now they're all coming together. You have the proprietary data, you have the trade and trend, you have the quad, I think, that fits as well. So it's and it has had a big move. So we're not saying jump in and buy it necessarily today.
Yeah, but well, now it's at 19, right? Trend for this thing is $13.41. So you see how you get this opportunity between 9 and 13.41. So of all this time, did you miss it? You went from 43 to 9, but did you have to own it at 10? Did you really have to make yourself feel better? Or are you okay with owning it at 13.41, going to 19, going back to 25? That's how I do it. I used to do it the way that you do it, and it doesn't work. That's why I don't do it that way. I don't mind being a little late on something, provided that, again, the process says to wait. The process doesn't promise buying bottoms and selling tops. Absolutely not, okay? So now that we got your attention, thank you for asking that question.
Hey there, Hedgeye Nation, or if you're not part of Hedgeye Nation, thanks for watching Hedgeye on YouTube. If you haven't already, make sure to click on the button below there. Subscribe to our YouTube page. You can also follow the link in the description to our website to get even more great investing content.